lawless, unforgiving Old West. One man tried to bury his past, only to discover that some nightmares never stay buried. Newly appointed Sheriff Harley Brogdon thought he'd left trouble behind, until ancient terrors from Native American legend clawed their way out of the cold earth. Bronze Star 2 is the thrilling continuation of the critically acclaimed Weird Western series by Eisner Award-winning writer Mike Barron and legendary artist Pat Broderick, co-creator of Creature Commandos. Return to Cobb's Gap, where every bullet fired is a deadly gamble, and every shadow may conceal an unimaginable horror. The legend rides again, deeper into darkness, into a series of hellish nightmares that will haunt you long after the final page. 2 chilling journeys into the heart of the Weird West await you in Bronze Star 2. Pre-order the pulse-pounding sequel now at bronzestarcomic.com.
Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. There's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the program. It's time for your favorite show on the interwebs, YouTubes, whether you like it or not. One of the oldest, greatest, bestest YouTube entertainment podcasts around. And can I get any more egotistical? I do not know, but I'm going to try. It's time for Midnight's Edge After Dark. That's right, live. We are live, L-I-V-E, livey. So hit that like button. Share out the link. Tell everybody that we're here. We're not very queer, but kind of queer because Nick's here.
Gay.
So like whenever Nick's here,
It's always like gonna get a little gay. Yeah, right.
Nick, Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon.
Oh, look at this motherfucker right here, Mr. CC Karaoke, coming in with a member chat, even though he can't show up to work. No, I'm just kidding. He's out hanging with the old lady. So hopefully he's having a great time. And Nick, how are you doing? Speaking of,
I'm doing pretty good. Tom, happy to be here. There's actually some news today, which is a milestone compared to what this year has been in general. No, obviously local elections are going on, but I'm still happy to be hanging out with the dude, and I'll be hanging out with more men later tonight. So how are you feeling?
you have a thing with hanging out with men.
I really do. It
You
really
do.
is like the story of my life.
A lot of men.
They're like where I go, it's like men just go. And
I've never seen you with a woman.
That's true. You have not. So that's true.
I think I've seen Jason Statham with more women than you.
I mean, that's
the other thing I try to wonder. It's like,
not hard to
anybody ever
accomplish.
seen him with a woman, like other than in a movie? I'm not trying to knock on him at all. Like, motherfucker is cool as shit. But like, wouldn't it be interesting if we find out that Jason Statham is gay?
Oh, dude, it would be hilarious. It reminded me of the time when so many girls I knew were so disappointed when they found out Ricky Martin was gay. I was like so happy and ecstatic. I was like, "Yeah, you stay gay, Ricky."
I'm
Less
probably wrong.
competition."
Motherfucker's probably been married for like 25 years or some shit, and I apologize because I'm probably wrong. But like, I just swear, anytime I've seen him on any red carpet pictures or videos, I don't ever remember seeing him with any women. I could be wrong. Somebody can prove me wrong within 2 seconds that the internet exists. But that would be kind of interesting. He comes out and like, "Hi there, Jason Statham. What's it like being the gayest action hero in the world? I like to suck cock.
And he does
Suck
it
it
in
better
his,
than anybody."
and he does it in his Speedo that he used for swimming.
Well, that's fitting since your new movie is called The Cocksucker. In this movie, I suck so much cock. You won't know what to do with it. I heard it's from the producers of The Meg. That's true. They made sure there was a big cock in here like The Meg. That sounds amazing.
Do you crank it when you guzzle on it?
I crank it all the time when I watch this movie.
That is one thing you cannot transport.
But
Anyway, see,
we're working men here, so we need to get moving on.
Well, which one's the
Yes.
beekeeper then? Would that be
I don't
you
know,
or
but
me?
we're not expendable. That's all I know.
Okay. I guess I'll be the mechanic since I was a mechanic.
Yes, you are a mechanic. A mechanic, all right. That's for sure. But anyhow, let's see here. We got I think another super chat here from Joe Pat. Thank you so much. Sends in a $1.99. Says, anyone ready to see New York City choose death at the polls? I'm not sure what you're referring to on this.
I know what he's talking about the election.
What are they electing tonight?
The super socialist guy versus the guy who still sucks but doesn't suck as bad as the socialist.
Oh, it's the mayoral race tonight. Gotcha.
Yeah, it is. It is that. What was that South Park analogy about elections? About the
douchebag versus
this may be
sandwich,
the new literal definition of that. This is where we're at. Like, idiocracy is in real time in NYC's mayoral race. You had the granny killer with Cuomo, and then you got the super socialist with Mamdani. Oh man, take your shit pick. I don't know that you don't have a better candidate. You just take a who is less shittier.
Yeah, I mean, even South Park. Speaking of like the politics and that shit, like I don't know if anybody's managed to make it up to the newer episodes here, but it really has kind of turned out to be what I kind of predicted. Although on a lower key level, like the whole thing with like Trump is literally fucking Satan kind of shit, and then you have the other thing with where this last episode, spoilers if you haven't seen it, it all boils down to the boys are sick of all the politics in South Park, and South Park sucks now because of politics.
What?
That's what I'm saying. They are very self-aware guys. Like I've said this before.
Well, that's not a surprise, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally the whole, like the last episode that the boys sell a Bitcoin because South Park sucks so bad now. And that's the whole point, is that they're mad because politics have ruined South Park. They're not wrong. But anyhow, it just was not as good as it could have been. I think they could have hit it more on the nose. It was like their best work still is that Kathleen Kennedy episode up to this point. But yeah, so my hopes and prayers for those in New York City. New York City. Yeah. So yes indeed. Let's see what we got here on the docket for news though. This was kind of a bit of a surprise of sorts, but I understand now why New Line had to change their Mummy movie title, because they don't want it to be confused, or Universal might have sent out a letter saying, hey, actually Universal and Warner are pretty good buddies, so they probably were mutual on this. But it looks like Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are reuniting for a fourth Mummy movie. Now correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, because I've never seen the third one.
I haven't either.
Oh, you haven't? Okay,
Nope,
now if I
I
remember
avoided
correctly,
that intentionally.
exactly. Yeah, like I heard Rachel Weisz is in it in anyway, right? So
Yeah,
this movie could put
she
him
should
back
have been
on.
in it. I don't
Yeah,
know why she wasn't in it, and that's shame on them for not bringing Rachel Weisz into it.
I think they asked her at the time. And I think she just wasn't interested. I
Okay,
mean, this
well,
is
that would make
also when
sense.
like Brendan was kind of on a downswing, and the movie felt very like 5 years too late. The Scorpion King one left a bad taste, I think, in everybody's mouth. The Mummy Returns one. So that was why I didn't go to see it. I can give a shit about Rachel Weisz being in it. It was like at that point, after that second Mummy movie, like it is so horrible, and they're so aware of how stupid the fact of it is that they're dragging their kid to a tomb, especially after the two. Like it's funny because on MEAD Radio, for those guys, for the few people who may not be aware of this out there, there is another channel on this and Rumble where I do a radio show where the gimmick is I play music from movies and television shows, their soundtrack scores and all that business. So like yeah, like anyhow, on the trailer for the radio thing, it even says that the people that should know better basically like wake up this mummy, and it's like, yeah, they should know better. And that's the problem with this fucking movie. It's like it's not even an accident or something coming to get them. They're literally just doing exactly what they know they shouldn't be doing. Right? Like the last people on earth who should be digging up a tomb. But that being said, I'm not against a sequel if you can find a good hook for it. But there's a catch here, speaking of hooks. And I think, Nick, you were one of the first people I seen comment on this. Something about the creative team behind it? Or am I misremembering? Somebody else may have said something and I misremembered it with you. You're muted if you're saying anything. He might have a kid in the background. So yeah.
Oh shoot! No, actually, I've been here the entire time. I was responding. Go ahead and read the information. We'll talk about the creatives.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't got to that part yet. Here, I was looking for that because yeah, I think you did mention the creatives on.
Yes, if I remember, I can't remember the specific names, but if I remember, it was something about the Scream revival movies.
Yeah,
And
those
to
guys,
me,
the
that was
YouTube
like,
kids.
oh
Yeah.
no, oh no.
I can't find their names here, but yeah, the guys who did the Scream reboot. Okay, here it is. The Bettinelli Open and Gillette are best known for 2019's Ready or Not are reviving the Scream franchise for Paramount in 2022. Now, Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillett is who they're talking about here. So that's who's reviving The Mummy for Universal. Now, if anybody hasn't seen Scream out there, the rebootable, whatever the hell you want to call it, it's a piece of shit. It's a big piece of shit. And it basically blames the fans.
Yep. Oh, it was so direct and on the nose with the whole my toxic fandom. Oh man, I remember seeing that in theater thinking, what the hell is this? And I remember in the credits, they thanked Ryan Johnson too.
Yep.
Like it wasn't like they were like being subtle or trying to hide it. They made it very well known. Like how they're talking about the toxic fans, because that was one of the things about the Scream movies was to acknowledge things going on at the time, if not from the past. And then you thank Ryan Johnson in the credits. That was not a freaking coincidence. That was absolutely intentional.
Yeah, Doba Fett points out radio silence is still an upgrade over Stephen Summers and Rob Cohen. Yeah, I'm not going to say that the Mummy movies have ever been in the greatest of hands, but these guys don't give me any faith that they can reboot this. They're one of the last guys. Might as well get Seth fucking Rogen.
Oh man. Oh, I don't want to be.
So Brendan, the mummy's going to come up. And he's going to fuck you up. Hey, look at him. He looks kind of like a joint.
I know you aren't as fond of The Mummy Returns, but I actually enjoy The Mummy Returns. I know a lot of people do. And I don't disregard anybody's opinion about it. It's total schlock. Like the first movie's total schlock. Like that's what these movies are. They're basically schlocky action, a little bit of Indiana Jones twisted into the old Mummy Universal. The only thing that's really kind of remotely like it is just the fact that it's a mummy. Right? Like these are more adventure movies than horror films. But anyway, go ahead and talk about how much you like the second film, because I mean I know some people do. It's a fun time. I saw it in the theaters twice. I own the OG copy of it on DVD. I watch it and I have a lot of fun with it. It's a very fun movie for me. And for me, the more ridiculous, over the top, and not trying to be so indulged in a sophisticated story, the more of that
Yeah.
I'm sold on the movie. And this to me was those movies. These were roller coaster movies and the theme park thing. And I was all about it, and I still am. I still go back to both these movies and still feel good when watching them. And that's another thing. I feel good when watching these movies. I remember when I saw there was a third one come out, something about it just didn't seem right at the time. Like, ooh, I don't know. This is not a good idea. But now that we have this fourth one, initially it was like, oh, hey, Brendan Fraser's on this like whole like a revival. I'm actually down. But then you see the creators, I'm like, ooh, okay, I will proceed. And I will. I'm not going to lie and be that guy who says he's not going to see it and then does. I'm going to proceed with caution because there's still potential here. But this could also be one of those surefire proof cases of when you take someone who's trying to do the best with the material they're given, and you can only do so much when you got bad writing. So we might have something that might end up having some good performances, and then ends up being that the script brings it down. Maybe I'm wrong, and all of it will be good. I would love to be in a world where a new Brendan Fraser-led Mummy movie is awesome. I will say, though, the fact that they're not acknowledging the events of the third movies is a good start. That is a good start. I never saw it, so it kind of works out even more in my favor. It was like those who chose to see it wasted their time and money, and I never did. So I guess I won in that regard. But
Mhm.
let's see how this is. I'm curious to see what the trailer is going to be like, and I hope for a good time. I don't come in here, expecting the equivalent of some wine drink. I'm coming into this movie like I'm going into it like with like a cheap bottle of whiskey, like the house whiskey, like Evan Williams.
Yeah.
Except I enjoy the shit out of Evan Williams. So please, bring me more Evan Williams. Like, and don't stop. This could be my Evan Williams of movies. I'm very much okay with that.
That sounds very gay, just so you know.
Fine.
Patrick Robinson says my Seth Rogen is hilarious. Too bad the real Seth Rogen isn't.
I was gonna say.
Hey, that was not nice. It's pretty funny though. No, yeah, like again, I have no real like I was never like a huge fan of the Mummy. I do have the Blu-rays. I just haven't watched them yet. Or I think I don't. Do I have just the first one, or do I have all? I don't even know because I get the 4Ks came out a little while ago. I think I bought the trilogy or whatever it was. I have to double check. I don't even remember if it's just the first one or the whole trilogy. But yeah, the only one I really care about is the first one. And to me, this kind of tells me Universal's probably going to give up for a little bit on this whole dark universe, which kind of sucks unless they use this as kind of like, look, the Mummy was part of the Universal monsters, but it was never a big part of the dark universe. Unless I'm trying to remember. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Was the Mummy in one of the Abbott and Costello films? Probably was, and I'm misremembering.
I can't remember.
Or the House of Frankenstein's or anything like that, or the House of Dracula. Because for those who don't know, like I've said it a million times, this whole thing with the dark universe, they've tried so many times to get this started. It makes no sense why they keep doing it the way they do. It'd be so easy. You just start with Dracula. You lean into what made the original Universal films so memorable. You make sure they look a lot like the originals. I think that's all that matters because that's the things that people associate with them. If anybody's seen the Monster Squad, you'll know what I'm saying. Like just update them, make them look a little bit more realistic. They don't have to be as hokey, but just give us something cool. Have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like treat it as like a lead up to a boxing match of sorts. But yeah, I guess the Mummy was and one of them. But even still, you can almost spin the dark universe back off of this franchise.
You could, yeah. I could absolutely see that. And I would not be opposed to us having a proper universe of those characters. That I think would actually be a good idea. If you're gonna go off of something that's based off of pre-existing characters, having them in a shared universe is a damn great idea. And this would be a great jumpstart to it. Sure, you're not going for the most popular character, as you mentioned, Dracula, but you're going off a franchise and you can morph it into that. And that is a great way to segue into a franchise. And then you can do Dracula after that.
No, it's pretty simple. You just kind of set it up like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or an Avengers style thing where you have, certain ones like Dracula, the Mummy.
Frankenstein.
Well, the Frankenstein, like my point is like you put some on the good side, some on a bad side, right? So
Uh-huh.
like Dracula's your big bad, right? Like so he's the big main bad guy, like your Thanos type.
Oh,
And then you
okay,
have
okay.
like underneath him, you have like your actual villains like the Mummy and so on and so forth. But on the good side, you have the more tragic ones like the Frankenstein monster, the Wolf Man, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Gilman, he'd probably be on the bad guys. I don't know. You could either go either way with him. I mean, there's so many possibilities here with that. And then you just basically set it up like an Avengers style thing where Van Helsing's just getting all these guys together, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are the one is kind of like the middle ground. You know what I mean? He's kind of like the Hulk of sorts. A little unpredictable, but like, yeah, I think it could work. You could have this really cool like thing happening, and they all kind of meld together and work together, and it doesn't have to be straight up horror. You can have some fun with it, to where it's leaning a little bit more tongue in cheek, so the teenagers and the younger kids can still get involved, because that's the beauty of the old classic Universal films, is as long as the kids can get past the black and white and old style filmmaking, those are really great films. And those styles of those characters are iconic. And I mean, I've brought it up so many times before, I don't need to dwell on it, but yeah, I hope for the best on this. Maybe these guys will just be listening to a lot of the ideas that Brendan has, and perhaps his ideas will be good, and otherwise just fingers crossed they have a good idea or reason to get these guys back together. Because let's be real, I'm sure a big part of this movie is going to be these two getting back together.
Oh,
and
of course.
Brendan Fraser's kid is going to be probably the more lead action part of it, where Brendan Fraser is going to be in more of the Sean Connery role to Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, most likely, is my guess. It'll probably be like a Chris Pratt type or somebody like that they'll bring in. I'm not saying Chris Pratt, but you know what I mean, like a Glenn Powell or somebody like that, probably. Which could kind of set it up for a new universe where you have whoever your main, Brendan Fraser's kid would team up with Van Helsing on the one side, and then you have the baddies on the other. So it could work if they actually listen to reason. But anyhow, let's see what you guys are talking about out there, unless you had anything more to say about it, Nick.
No, I got nothing else.
All right. Joe Pat says, I'm from LI, which will be cut off if NYC fails. What's LI? Long Island? Oh, Long Island. Okay, gotcha. If NYC falls. Yeah, I can see where that could be a bit of a predicament to be in, Joe Pat. Hoping for the best for you, my man. And Lost for Words been here for 44 months. Doesn't have any words to say. Just said he's been here for 44 months. And then Miller's in the house and sends in 14 is South African rants and says, The Mummy, ruined by Alex Kurtzman. That's so correct. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit about Alex Kurtzman and Star Trek here in just a minute. Infinite Wanderer also sends in $5, says, assuming they were done well, which would you prefer to see, classic Universal Horror Cinematic Universe or Robert E. Howard Cinematic Universe? Well, the problem with the Robert E. Howard Cinematic Universe is like Red Sonja and some of the, I don't know about the other characters, but I believe Red Sonja and maybe one or two others are under some other kind of license. So I don't know if you could actually do a real good universe for them. But the Universal monsters, me personally, I'd probably go with that, because I've always had a huge affection for the classic style Universal monsters. I mean, I kind of broke my teeth on the Monster Squad, so that was kind of my entryway into these characters more so, these versions of these characters, even though they're 25% different enough so that Universal wouldn't sue, which kind of gets us to our next topic in a weird way. But what about you, Nick? Would you rather see a Robert E. Howard Cinematic Universe or a classic Universal Horror Monster Universe?
Man, that's conflicting. I think I'm only going to side with the Howard universe just because, like, outside of Conan, like, I love me some Cole. I love me some Solomon Kane, James Kirwan as well. There's a lot of great character. Oh, Dark Agnes is great. She's awesome. There's a lot of great Howard characters, and a lot of them are from different timelines. And there are always stories, that usually involves like mystical elements that kind of bring them together in certain ways. So you can make that work. And it would be great to see Conan and Cole together, because they kind of look like each other, but their mannerisms are dramatically different. But, I would not knock on the idea of a classic Universal Horror universe as well. That's a great idea. I just wish someone would take the time to execute it properly and not speed rush it. But same thing could be applied to the Howard Cinematic Universe if they were to ever apply it. So I'll side with Howard, but not opposed to either or.
Yeah, again, like my only issue with the Howard universe, and this is just technicalities, the licensing, and it's something you kind of pointed out. There's a lot of characters that are very similar. So, like, in some cases, I think that you'd have a lot of overlap there, but
well, Solomon Kane will be hugely stand out aside from James
like if you had Solomon Kane meeting
Dark
up with
Agnes.
Conan somehow, and and all that kind of stuff, maybe.
Oh, it could
then
work.
The other problem is how do you both geologically and timeline?
Oh, that could be done. It's been done in storylines. There's actually a current
even the real
Conan story right now with Conan and Cole right now going on called Scourge of the Serpent.
Well, those guys are more closer in time. My point,
yes.
But like the other ones, like that's the issue. Is then what do you do with the other? Like, do you have some weird time travel story? Where...
Yes, you would. You would have to have. Usually involves mystical element. I wouldn't say time travel. More so, there's like a mystical thing that kind of brings them to their timelines. Like last year, there was another one called Battle of the Blackstone, and Dark Agnes was in it, and so was Solomon Kane. And you had Brissa as well. She's another great female character. And you do something like that, like Battle of the Blackstone. I mean, the blueprint is already there for a few of these stories. I mean, yeah, they're not as well talked about.
You just have to find ways for them to cross over.
Yeah, you just got to get someone who's actually going to be a good at writing, and it can work. I mean, it's not a rocket science concept, but for a lot in current year Hollywood, it seems like everything is rocket science to them.
Yeah.
And I love Flash Gordon, Davina. Yes, he's such a copy of Buck Rogers, the same way Starlight's a copy of Flash Gordon to Buck Rogers. But I love all three.
Well, thank you for that question on Infinite Wanderer. That was a good one. And then we got Green Raptor, who's been a member for 3 months. Thank you for that, Green Raptor. We appreciate that. We do love dinosaurs around here, especially raptors. Let's move on to our main topic. As we were pointing out, there's things being shaken up over at Paramount as David Ellison has taken over in Skydance as well. There's a part of this. All comes from a big story that I probably that we'll cover tomorrow morning on the morning show, I imagine, and this will be a part of it too. But we're going to concentrate mainly on the Star Trek aspect of this right now, because I don't know how much of a Trekkie you are, Nick. I was hoping some of the other Trek boys would join us, but of course I know Mark's busy tonight and some of the other stuff. But so it sounds like, for all intent and purpose, that we're finally free of the Kelvin timeline. I know it's a big deal, and everybody's just like, huh, what? Like, yeah, I know, it's crazy, but I don't even know if that's the right tone to use. We don't have any real confirmation on it, other than we don't have any confirmation on the Kurtzman side of this, let's say. This is more or less about the films in the timeline, the Kelvin timeline films. So in an interview with Variety, or at least it came out in Variety, David Ellison had said some things about Star Trek. So here's what he had to say. So this is the whole kit and caboodle here from the Variety piece. Despite the disagreements over strategy, there's a shared sense of urgency around the need to fundamentally transform Paramount as the new executive leadership recognizes it must move fast to pull off grand plans. In addition to signing talent deals with Smith and Matt and Russ Duffer, the brothers behind Netflix's Stranger Things, the team trying to assemble a slate of films that can attract audiences to theaters at a time when the box office is in a slump, Ellison personally courted a complete unknown's James Mangold and is shelling out up to $100 million to produce High Side. Let me make this bigger. It's really small.
That's what she said.
That's right. God damn it. High Side, a motocross thriller that will be the director's next film with Timothée Chalamet. Insiders at Paramount insist that the film will cost less and no official budget has been set. Some long gestating productions, such as Miles Teller's sports drama Winter Games, have been put into turnaround, while there has also been a focus on reinvigorating certain franchises. And here comes to Star Trek. The hope is to have a fresh Star Trek movie, though the studio has moved on from the idea of it bringing back Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, and the rest of the ensemble from the JJ reboot. So it's not exactly a confirmation, but it is a sign that things have changed. We just don't know to what. It is also working on a sequel to Top Gun and Days of Thunder, with film's star Tom Cruise recently visiting Paramount Lot to congratulate Skydance team on its takeover and to discuss a return to those franchises and other possible collaborations. So Nick, do you think this is a sign that we're done and over with the J.J. Abrams universe? Do you think this has anything that will affect Kurtzman's Star Trek as well? What do you think this has to say for Star Trek now that Ellison has taken over with Skydance?
So, judging as an outsider on this, because I am friends with so many Trekkies, yet ironically, I've never watched Trek. However, I definitely am aware of a few key names. Some of the issues that have gone with the shows have suffered a lot of the same symptoms. A lot of the things that I love have. I am aware of the stigma of this movie series that has come out since 2009. And it seems like they have had a hard time trying to get a fourth movie off the ground with that current cast for a long time now. I'm actually kind of surprised that they finally have conceded that it's basically not going to happen. Like, could they try it again in a few years? Maybe, probably. I don't think it's going to affect Alex Kurtzman because it feels like he's just the female version of Kathleen Kennedy. He'll just keep his job. And he won't go anywhere unless he dies and step down. So we don't need to make 800 more videos wondering, is Alex Kurtzman finally out? He's not out. Guys, he's not out. Be nice for the Star Trek fans, but these franchises are just under wrong, horrific leadership. You'll get your outliers for your Andors. And as I know, Klobby hated it, but I know some of y'all liked Picard season 3. So let's just say you'll get outliers, but for the most part, I think these franchises are, at least these two ones, I mean, God, they're damaged goods. I think the only way they can recover is if Star Wars and Star Trek, especially Star Trek, from what it seems like, judging from afar, and if you're Trekkies in the chat, you tell me if I'm wrong, but judging as an outsider, it feels like Star Trek is even more damaged goods than Star Wars. That's what I get from the outside. Correct me if you feel differently, but
there are people who agree with you.
Okay,
I'm one of the people who disagree with that because I'll sit here and say, here's the beauty of Star Trek compared to Star Wars.
Okay,
the Kelvin timeline already gives you the excuse that there's multiple timelines in the Star Trek universe already that you can just ignore this shit. Right, like that's the beauty. That's point one. Because in Star Wars, everything that's happening is canon. That's the fucking problem. So unless you find a way to undo it within the canon somehow, it is canon. The beauty of Star Trek is tomorrow they can do a movie with the TNG crew, and none of it has to have anything to do with JJ Trek or anything else because it is its own thing. It doesn't have to adhere to that. It doesn't have to fucking acknowledge any of that shit, right? Like the beauty of Star Trek is you have so many jump off points and so many places you can go that it has proven in the past because it's one of the few franchises, and I've used this point too, where the next generation didn't have to lean on the original show to be a success, right? You didn't have every other week Shatner showing up or Nimoy showing up. Yes, they had a couple cameos throughout the show, the run of the show, but it was never about the original Enterprise. It was never about the original Star Trek crew, right? The show itself was about moving forward with a brand new crew and a new time and a new, I want to say place because it's all space in different places, but it's some of the same places, but you know what I mean? Same thing with any new Star Trek you want to do here. The problem Star Trek has right now is a similar problem that Star Wars has, though. That is where, I think the two collide because what you have right now between the Kurtzman Trek and the JJ Trek is just this crap that nobody wants, right? And the franchise has been destroyed by the, insertion of, whether it's the gay shit or the identity politics or anything else it is, you want to add racism, all that kind of bullshit. Shit that Star Trek was never really about. Stuff that they tackled in the past, but it wasn't about that. So you have a problem there. But the beauty of that is unlike Star Wars, a lot of people went to see the destruction of Star Wars. Not very many people have seen the destruction of Star Trek. In fact, so few have tuned into Star Trek that most people probably wouldn't even have known that anything has changed. Right? Like if they actually tune into something that looks good and new, they didn't see Discovery. They didn't see any of this other garbage in between here. So chances are they're going to enjoy whatever it is they get. And that's where and I have proof of this because that's what Picard season 3 was.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though the first 2 seasons of Picard were fucking wretched and in some ways destroyed the character in TNG, and actually in a lot of ways, as Clobby would be one to remind us if he was with us right now.
Oh, yeah.
That 3rd season found a way to kind of ignore as much of it as possible and kind of still move forward. And even what I saw of it, I was like, look, I wouldn't say it's great Star Trek, but it's about as good as any of the movies, what I saw of it. Right? So I understood why a lot of people were enjoying it at the time, because it's like that old Eddie Murphy joke in Raw. You know, one of the biggest things about women in the whole pussy trap is to not give you any pussy, so that by the time you get some, it's the greatest you've ever had because you're starving.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with Star Trek. We were starving, and somebody threw us a cracker, so we were just like Eddie Murphy going, that was a good cracker. Was that a Ritz? That was a Ritz. That wasn't a regular cracker. And then after a few more, you get the same thing going, and you'll be like, wait a minute, this is some regular crackers. And the proof is in the pudding with the whole TNG movies, because those fell off a cliff faster than the fucking original films, and people are like, fuck this noise. By the time Nemesis came out, I don't think anybody went to see it. Yes, some people went to see it in the theaters, but I mean, in comparison to the other films, right? So here we are now, where Star Trek had already kind of been on life support, with Enterprise being the last real vestige of classic Trek. Nobody is going to disavow that JJ's 2009 Star Trek did give, Star Trek a needed boost in the arm. But since then, it hasn't had shit. And if they just re-embrace the classic Trek, embrace the whole idea of this retro futurism, I think they'll have the old crowd will come back and they can find a new crowd that's much bigger and more relevant than this 0.02% of the population that they're trying to pander to right now. Because Star Trek has gone almost as gay or just as gay as fucking Doctor Who at this point.
Okay.
And I have much less I don't have much less or more to say about it than that.
No. Your point is taken. Once again, I'm judging from the outside when it comes to Trek. So I obviously, if I'm wrong or people feel different, which there's a few who are, which, hey, like I said, I'm admitting on the open, I don't know better. I'm judging this from afar, what it looks like. It seems like some things I'm kind of on the mark for, and there's a few things people think I'm off on. That's fine. Once again, I admit.
No, I think it just matters of how much of a fan you are, or what kind of a fan you are, probably at the end of the day. Because I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
One thing I've noticed with Star Trek, and this I feel like should be, I guess you could say. Once again, it's still my opinion, but I wouldn't say it's entirely factual. But Star Trek always still, even on its, I guess you could say its best days, and that's hard for me to say that, but I guess we could say and I guess that means when most people are talking about it. And this is from as long as I'm living. So once again, take what I say with a pinch of salt, but it feels like Star Trek has always been a bit more niche. It was always kind of hanging on. It wasn't like something that was super soaring as far as like acclaim from like fans. I always feel like it had its fans, and they were very, very dedicated. Because I know there's one thing I feel like I could say: Star Trek fans may be a bit more dedicated due to how much more niche it is. But because it's that much more niche, yeah, you're right. It probably never got to the soaring highs of Star Wars in terms of popularity. So yeah, I can see why more normies would latch on to Star Trek by default, because they don't have that point of reference where even a casual normie might have a point of reference with Star Wars, unlike Star Trek.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like the entry for Star Wars and Star Trek is much different.
Yes.
In fact, I'll tell most people, like, if you want to get into Star Trek and you've never watched any of it or know very little about it, your best entry point, believe it or not, is probably Star Trek 4. The movie Star Trek 4, because that is the most non-Star Trek-y, but yet it introduces you to the characters enough, and it has enough of a plot that you can follow without having to see what came before it, and it doesn't set up for much anything later on. And then you can just go back and get into whatever from there on out, right? Because that movie, even though there's a tie-up of the trilogy before that with, the motion picture and Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3, like that movie just kind of sets itself off on its own little mission that is so self-contained. Like I've said it a million times before, it doesn't even have to be a Star Trek movie. It could basically be like almost like a random generic movie about a bunch of people from the future who just come to the past because they need a whale. Right? It's the typical fish out of water story. It could have been anybody. It could even have been like a sequel to Galaxy Quest if it never was a Star Trek movie. It'd have been a perfect sequel to Galaxy Quest. You know what I mean? Like something along those lines. But that being said, it is a Star Trek movie and it really works so well on its own and it's so, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Nick, but that's a movie I would tell you to check out, even if you're not a Star Trek fan, just because it's fucking funny. And it's fun. Like, I mean, it's got some great one lines in it and all that kind of business. So yeah. But other than that, yeah, go with the original series, then after that, and then Next Generation and so on. But I mean, I haven't even seen all of Star Trek, dude. There's so much fucking Star Trek.
No, and that's cool. And I've noticed like you'll have some people who like a little bit of all the eras. They like certain eras.
Yeah.
And there's people who like one exclusive series, and I've noticed that too. But what I noticed, one of the common threads between all of those from 1966 through 2005, they all agree that's all Trek. Even if it's bad Trek, they still agree that it's Trek, and that's good to know that they all have very diehard fans. Even I've met some people who are big DS9 fans. I've met some people who are big Enterprise fans. I was like, I've never watched it. I am aware that Enterprise wasn't as well received amongst Trekkies, but I've met them. I know some Trekkies who are ecstatic about Enterprise. So I'm sure they might be a smaller bunch, which is saying a lot considering how niche Star Trek already is. But it just goes to show you that the people who are into it are really into it. And I really admire that passion. Once again, judging from afar, I really respect that because I was that way for a long time with Marvel and DC. So I really respect that dedication. That is something we need more of in the world. I feel like the chat's educating me, and I'm actually a big fan of it. Thank you, chat. I am loving this. I am loving that you're correcting me on certain things and say, hey, this is where to start, or hey, that's not accurate, or hey, yeah, I can see that, and point out what is track. I love this. I am not offended by this at all. I'm enjoying this. I'm willing to be educated. I'm concerned when I do start Star Trek. I see I mess up my English here. Sometime between now and my death, I'm hoping I start with the original series. That's probably where I'll go. I don't know how many years it'll take me to get through because I barely do. I tried watching 2 ongoing shows at one time. With the way my life works, it was hellacious to juggle. I could barely get by doing one show. So I had to get, after trying to watch 2 shows at once, not happening. So I had to bring it back down.
TOS is actually pretty easy to get through because it's only 3 seasons. It's under 100 episodes. Okay. They're very easy to get in and out of, like, because they don't really rely on the longevity of any kind of.
Easy to get in and out of.
I did say.
Oh yeah.
You don't even need any lube. And TNG is very similar in that way. I don't think they really got too like overarching story oriented until way later. Like, yes, there are some major events that happen in TNG, but like not until like later where it gets super, super like, you have to see a bunch of episodes and stuff like that to know what's going on. So like, yeah. So yeah, I would suggest starting there too. But anyhow, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. We got Green Raptor who says, watched Bela Lugosi's Dracula Friday. Good stuff. Well, that was a good one for Halloween.
Hell yeah, dude.
Got so many quotable lines.
Hell yeah. No, I actually read recently my Kickstarter back Dracula book 2, The Brides from Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones. And oh man, when I read that, I'm like, they could easily make a movie off of this. And now because I've been like in like a vampire mood lately, when I'm not watching Bond, I'm reading and watching vampire stuff now. It's a really weird mindset my mind is between being James Bond and being Dracula.
There you go. And then we got Action Com who says the reactors online. I have settled on watching Star Trek in order of air date, including the movies. That's one way of doing it if you want to. I just like to tell people, like, because we get a lot of people who talk to us and ask us these things, and if you're somebody who wants to get into the franchise, my suggestion as a street level person who's never really known anything about Trek, or if you only know the main characters from the original series, or maybe a couple from TNG or whatever, Star Trek 4 is a good place as an entry point. And then from there, if you like it, then you can branch out into other movies. In fact, like I would say, go Star Trek 4, then maybe Star Trek 2 and 3, and then go back to the original series. That's kind of what I did, but that's just me. But that's just because that's just how it happened to be in my life. Now, if my dad or somebody else in my family is probably more into Star Trek, maybe I would have watched it more often or seen it more often. But it was more or less my own personal, you know, it was, you know, my doing.
Are the episodes in the original series, do I have to watch them in order, or could I just
No.
watch them as is?
No, and that's kind of what I was getting at before, actually, Nick, was that the
Okay.
beauty of, especially of TOS and the earlier seasons of TNG, is that a lot of it is TOS is pretty much all non, like, whatever you want to call it, where it doesn't follow any like overarching story, right?
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
every week is a completely different adventure. It could have happened at any point in the, you know, their history of traveling through time. Like the only difference is by the time you get to like season 3, they have
Mhm,
some hokier episodes and hokier effects because they were getting budgets cut.
mhm.
But then like TNG, like yes, there's some events that happen here and there throughout the earlier episodes, but it isn't until my memory when you get later in, when you get all the wars and stuff like that, where things kind of get to where you got to see every episode. Then a lot of that jumps off into Deep Space Nine and there's Voyager and all that stuff like that. So like those I think are a little bit more overarching story oriented, and same with Enterprise. Because I never watched all of Voyager or DS9, full disclosure, but I have seen half of Enterprise. But that was the problem, is when those shows all came out, they were all at the same time. We had movies going on at the same time. We were eating good for Star Trek fans, but I just got kind of oversaturated with it. And by the time I came back around to it was when they decided to cancel Enterprise, and I'm like, well, fuck. So midway through, I just quit watching it because I'm like, well, what the hell's the point? But anyhow, yeah, you got to do you, boo. There's plenty of ways to do this. And like CC says here, like even the end of DS9 is a full-on 7-parter. And somebody who may know a thing or two about this or have something to say about Star Trek is Jason from Sci-Fi for Me TV. How you doing?
Jason!
If you can find his audio.
Oh, he found it.
Did I find
We
it?
hear you. You're faint, but we hear you.
A faint?
Yeah, let me see if I can find your audio here.
All right, 1, 2, 3. How's that?
That's better.
Better? Okay.
That's better.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just saw the link in the
Nah, it's cool. I just sent it out because we were a little short tonight, and I know you said in the past you'd always hop on if we
Oh, sure.
needed you, so I thought I'd get your and you're a Trekkie, so I figured I'd get your
Much
2 cents on
rejoicing
this.
here. Yes. No, I'm very happy about this news. The fact that it's buried in this article in Variety, that's just this one throwaway line, tells me that they weren't probably that they weren't really serious about pursuing this Kelvin Trek 4 anyway. But
Yeah.
I'm certainly glad to see that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and now we just need to get rid of Alex Kurtzman and Secret Hideout, and I hear that's on the way. So,
I mean, I'd like to believe that, but I have not seen much evidence to that other than
well,
this is ending. But yeah,
there's a lot of chatter about Star Trek United, which is the Michael Sussman project with Scott Bakula, which is not Kurtzman. You've got this kids show Star Trek Scouts on YouTube, which is not Kurtzman. So there's indicators, and I think you and I probably share a source, and then whoever Tachyon Pulse podcast is talking to is also saying that Kurtzman's making pitches and he's getting laughed out of the room. So I don't think that they're going to be moving forward on anything. I got told that Skydance keeps coming to Kurtzman with deals that are just insulting at the point where they're trying to get Kurtzman to refuse it. So I think they're just going through the motions at this point. Hopefully, and fingers crossed, right? So I don't know. Everybody got muted.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. I
Everybody
was just letting
muted.
you have the
Everybody
floor,
muted.
and Tom was Thomas somewhere in the world. Thomas somewhere in the world. And I mean, I'm listening to you. I'm enjoying all these comments from people telling me why I need to watch Trek. So I feel like there's always like a weird like obligation now. Like, not like in like a negative way, but like you guys got kind of like made me enthusiastic. Like, maybe I should at least try to catch, like, maybe I can realistically maybe catch 1 or 2 episodes a week. And then maybe I can report on MEAD every week on my thoughts on it as like a little like small 10-minute segment for the week. That way, one, there's always a default topic. Nick's take on OG Trek. I'll pitch it to Tom. I think that could actually be really fun to have my thoughts on it. Who knows? Maybe I could get Tom in on it with me. And once again, it could be a small little thing. I've not watched a single minute of Star
I love
Trek
trying to
in my
get
life
into
ever.
small things with you.
Well, all you have to do
you've
is ask,
never
Tom. You
seen
know,
it.
I'm very open-minded.
I know you're
with you
very gay
around.
and open-minded.
So you've never seen Star Trek at all, Nick? Not even
Not-
in any of the movies? Nothing?
Nothing. And the funny part is, I think my dad is a fan of the original series. I think he has. I'll have to ask him. I'll have to get a hold of him and ask
Yeah.
him. Well, I'll have to call me. Hey, if I recall, you said you like Star Trek, right? He'll probably say I like the original show. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him. I'd be like, okay, well, I'll do
Well,
that.
and let me address a comment from Davina in the chat. Yeah, the first 3 seasons of Enterprise was not entirely Star Trek. The 4th season, where Manny Coto was in charge, they sat there and said, "You know what? We're making a Star Trek series. Maybe we ought to make it more like Star Trek." And so by that time it was already canceled, and because the UPN merger with WB and writer strike and all this other mess. But yeah, it started to shift over into lining up better with continuity for original series, given that it was a prequel. they had a direction to go that they had to land, and by the time they got there where Manny Coto was in charge, it was already too late.
Well, I'm gonna start with the original series. If I like it, and if I like it that much, maybe I'll consider doing maybe like a thing on TNG. We'll see. I'm just right now. I gotta do this one at a time. You know, this is like seeing me with watching Star Trek is like seeing me hanging out with a woman. You've never seen it happen, so I might as well, at least since people are actually, gonna know that this has happened. I gotta make sure that there's a good relationship here between me and the original series, and if I like her, and we can take the next step together.
I wouldn't
Sounds like a
be
marriage.
I wouldn't be
Right?
opposed to-
It really is.
well, I wouldn't be opposed to sitting there with you, Nick, and guiding you through it. So,
Ooh, well, maybe
Sounds
we'll
like a
have to be
threesome now.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's an
we-
open marriage.
We might have to be
Yeah.
in touch now. That we might be really good.
My
We're getting poly with the TOS.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Oh Lord.
well, Anna was going through it. She had started going through it with Jay, Drunk 3PO, and then I think they only made it
And
past the first season. And then all of the stuff with Gina happened, and all of that got sidetracked.
that Star
been
Wars
doing
girl,
stuff
Anna.
with she's been doing stuff with Graham Nolan.
Nolan,
They've
yeah,
they've
him
been
and Ron
going through it,
Garney,
yeah.
yeah. Some
So-
might say I'm a big Ron Garney fan.
But there are a lot of different people that are doing rewatches and stuff. We're doing the one with Avalon 5 now, but I would not be opposed to doing original series again.
We'll be in touch in the next few days then, because you have tickled my curiosity. Trust me, I can feel the tickles.
All right.
Oh my, like a French tickler.
Yes. And I'm very excited about Mummy 4. That's good stuff.
Yeah. ActionCom
Didn't
asked
get
for $5. Tom, let's experiment using AI search engine. Ask, when and in what context did Roger Ebert say the day I become consistent is the day I go insane? Now I think I know the quote you're talking about, but I couldn't find anything here. In fact, I read it, I threw it into Grok, and Grok can't find it. So unless you have a better search engine to go by, please link me to that in the next few minutes here before we wrap up. I'll gladly check it out. But otherwise, you come back with another $2 and says, before you search, what do I think what Ebert meant? Again, I remember it was like, if I remember correctly, and I could be misremembering, it was an argument between him and Gene was talking about how inconsistent he was in some of his reviews. And as an offhand joke, he came back with, with the comment, the day I become consistent is the day I go insane, or something like that. You sure you didn't mean inconsistent? But yeah, I can't remember now what the exact quote was or what the context was. But it was some argument, I think, with Siskel. It may have even been on like one of the Letterman shows or something like that too. But if you have that info, feel free to send it to me. But otherwise, we're going to be wrapping it up here. So Jason, while we have a minute or two while we're waiting to see if that gets sent to me, what do you got going on over at Sci-Fi for Me TV? Tell the folks out there what it's all about.
Today we had episode 909 of Live from the Bunker. I interviewed Leighton Dixon about her book that just hit the streets today called Ship of Spells. I'm reading it now. It's kind of a female Horatio Hornblower meets the Pirates of the Caribbean. There's magic and there's naval battles and stuff. So far, it's pretty good. I don't have a specific plan the rest of the week, but most of the time we're on at 12 noon, and there's a little bit of overlap with Midnight's Edge in the morning sometimes, but we go for a couple of hours. We're
There's always replays too, yeah.
Yeah, we're right now we're just catching up on news mostly because I've been out for the last 2 weeks doing stagehand day job work, and I'm catching up. So we had a big Sydney Sweeney segment today. So if anybody's interested in that, it's in the third hour.
You should have had two of them.
Yeah, right. We'll probably have another one. We'll get more. Yeah, but that's what we got going now. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Check out Sci-Fi for Me TV if you haven't. I do like to listen to them guys when I get a chance to. Miller sends in another 35 South African rands to say animated series Star Trek continues and New Voyages Phase 2. Both these series are available on YouTube and are 3 different interpretations of Final Trek. Well, there you go. Check that out. There's some alternate Trek. See, that's the beauty of Star Trek and kind of what you were inferring to, Nick, before, is that it has a very broad, or a very specific fan base, but they're a very rabid fan base. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, they're very dedicated. They're very into the show. They do their own things. And they are kind of the origins of the fan film. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, and I should point out, just as a point of order, the animated series from '73 is considered by a lot of people, and the further out we go, the longer we go, the more it's considered canon. That it was, when it was written and produced, it was considered season 4 of the show. That was the approach that Roddenberry had, and DC Fontana, who was the story editor and one of the head writers, their approach was that this is the next season of the show. They wrote it the same way. They didn't dumb it down for kids because it was a cartoon. They had some stuff in there that they were able to do that they didn't have the budget to do in live action. But and fans are starting to come around the last 5-10 years that it's canon. So continues and New Voyages both are pretty good fan series. The New Voyages gang, James Cawley, he's the one who shifted after the Axanar debacle. He shifted his set because his is the most screen accurate because he's going off of the original blueprints from Desilu. His set up in Ticonderoga, New York, is now officially licensed. It's the official CBS Star Trek set tour, and the Galileo shuttlecraft just landed there and is on permanent display. So they have the sets laid out exactly the way they were at Desilu back in the 60s when they were shooting the show. So, and one of these days I got to get up there. And they're adding a Next Generation set as well. They're working on that now.
There you go. Okay, so what Captain or Accidental, I can talk today. Action Com was talking about. Okay, I don't know why my grok didn't work, as I showed you here. He was talking about the Mystery 3000 movie. He gave the TV show 4 stars and he gave the movie 3. He goes, "The day I become consistent is the day I go insane." I don't know what he meant by that, but I mean, they're two different animals, perhaps. I really wish I could tell you on that one. But yeah, okay, so that's not even what I thought it was. So my bad on that one, but thank you for the heads up on that. Appreciate that. But
It sounded like he was being smart.
no, I just copied exactly what you put into the tweet base or the DM thing here. But with that, Nick, what you got going on? No Toxic Tuesday tonight?
No Toxic Tuesday tonight due to some local elections. Our man Mark D with a C is surviving out at the New York one. Keyword surviving. And I figure, well, I don't want to talk about politics tonight, so we're going to have a politically neutral show member stream tonight. And so if you're a member of any size, bigger, smaller member, whatever size, all members are welcome to come on stream and hang out. We'll start at in an hour and 45 minutes from now, and we'll talk about whatever, really. So who knows? Maybe we might talk about how bad the new Predator looks. We might talk about the new Frankenstein that actually looks pretty damn good. Who knows? We'll just it's gonna be a free for at it. It's gonna be huge. So yeah. Thanks for having me. It's been real good hanging out with you and good hanging out with Jason. And yes, chat. Yeah. A lot of you are saying I need to watch Trek. Maybe let me figure out what I can do to make that realistically work. And at the very minimum, if I do, it'll be with the original series. So let's get through this relationship first, and I can consider bouncing around.
Yeah, well, original series gives you the foundation for everything else. So that's the smart way to go.
All right, with that, I want to thank everybody out there for listening. I want to thank all the members for being members, and the chat for being the chat, and the mods for all the help. And I guess Dick Cheney has died at 84.
Yep.
I didn't even know he's still alive.
That news broke this morning. I think it was his heart.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that for his family. So yeah. All right, kids. Politics are happening, so find yourselves a place to either avoid it or get informed about it. And we're gonna get on out of here. So take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time,